Today we are making these super cute and delicious birthday cake macarons. We're going to start off by sifting our dry ingredients. This includes 65 grams of superfine almond flour and 62 grams of powdered sugar. Once those are sifted, if there's any clumps that don't quite make it through, you can use a rubber spatula to kind of push them through and make sure that everything that comes out is super fine. Once your dry ingredients are sifted, it's time to work on our French meringue. We're going to add 2 large egg whites, or about 65 grams of aged egg whites, into the bowl of our stand mixer, and we're going to start to mix on a medium speed. If desired, you can also add in 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar at this point. Once the meringue reaches soft peaks, we're going to gradually add in 1/4 cup of castor or granulated sugar. I like to do this in 3 to 4 additions. We're then going to increase the speed of our mixer up to a high speed and continue to mix until stiff peaks form. You should be able to see some texture in your egg whites, and it should begin to gather inside of your whisk. So at this stage, our egg whites aren't quite there yet, but it's the perfect time to add in our gel food coloring. You want to do that once you finish adding in your sugar, but before your meringue has reached stiff peaks. We're going to continue to mix on high until we can see the meringue gathering inside of the whisk, just like this. So now our meringue is ready to go, and it's time to fold our dry ingredients into our French meringue. This part is always a bit of an arm workout for me, but I like to add my dry ingredients in 3 additions. So after adding about 1/3 of them into our meringue, I'm going to go around the bowl twice with my spatula and then pull through the center twice. And I'm going to repeat this process until those dry ingredients are fully incorporated into the meringue. This process might feel a little bit awkward when you first start, but I promise it will start to feel more natural over time and as the batter gets more mixed. So we're going to repeat this process 2 more times with our dry ingredients, and as you're doing this, you're working some of the air out of the meringue, and that's what's going to give us that perfect consistency in our meringue batter. This process is actually called macaronage, and that's where macarons get their name from. Excuse my terrible accent. So you can see that our batter is starting to get a little bit more fluid, but it's still quite thick. So we're going to add in our remaining dry ingredients, and then we're going to continue to work it around the sides of the bowl, because we need to deflate it just a tiny bit more to get our consistency right. You also want to really make sure you're scraping the sides of the bowl, because sometimes some of the batter can kind of stick there, and you want to make sure everything is properly mixed together. If you're not sure if your batter is the right consistency or not, just do a spatula test. To do this, you can just lift your spatula up and see what consistency the batter is like when it runs off. If it flows off your spatula in thick ribbons like this, then your batter is all ready to go. I like to use a tall cup to fill my piping bags, and I fit my piping bags with a large round frosting tip. Once all my batter is in my large piping bag, I'm going to seal off the top with a rubber band just to avoid any spills, and then it's time to start piping our macaron shells. As you do this, you want to keep your piping bag perpendicular to your counter, and you want to try to apply an even amount of pressure. Once I'm done piping a shell, I like to do a little bit of a spin just to get a clean pull away so that my macaron shells turn out nice and smooth. Once they're piped, I bang my pan on the counter a few times just to help any air bubbles that are trapped release, and I also pop any air bubbles with toothpicks that I can see. Next, we're adding nonpareil sprinkles on top of our shells and let them rest until they form a skin. Then it's time to bake them, and once they're fully cooled, we're going to carefully peel them off our silicone mats. So as you can see, our shells look great, and it's time to work on our filling. I decided to use an almond cream cheese frosting, and I added some nonpareil sprinkles to that as well, just because for some reason almond always reminds me of special occasions, and sprinkles just remind me of birthday cake. So together, I think this truly is the ultimate birthday cake frosting. I filled each of my macaron shells, sandwiched them together, and then I let them rest overnight to help soften the shells and give them that perfect macaron texture. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon.